Anthony McCarron and Jastremski are here for some table talk. All right, guys, so not an ideal spring debut for Edwin Diaz. He's had some ups and downs in his Mets tenure. So, Anthony, how concerned were you with his 2025 debut on Thursday?
You know, a little bit, Michelle. I think we hold Diaz to a lofty standard because of that one season where he was just nuclear. And part of that sort of leads me to hope that he can get to those heights again. And, when he doesn't and when he struggles in his spring training, Adam, you're kind of like, again? I mean, come on. But he is still really, really good. And I think he's... to me, JJ, he's kind of achieved the veteran status where, like, if it doesn't go great in March, it's not really this big, huge red flag. I mean, to me, the big red flag about Diaz, aside from him getting back to being achieving some consistency, is stopping the running game. It's a disaster. 28 out of 29 tries last year, runners with successful stealing. I mean, it's carte blanche. If you get on against this guy, JJ, you should be going.
1,000%. I am way more concerned about Edwin Diaz's inability to hold the runner than I am with a lousy spring training outing. This is a feeling out process for him. His stuff is going to be fine at the end of the day. And to your point, I don't know if Edwin Diaz is ever going to be as dominant as he was in 2022. That was a dream season. That's one of the best reliever seasons I've ever seen in my lifetime, outside of the great Mariano Rivera, of course. Like, that was that illustrious a year for Diaz. He's still going to be one of the 5 or 6 best relievers in all baseball, and I think the Mets are in very good hands with their closer. However, to your point, if I am the Atlanta Braves, if I am the Philadelphia Phillies, if I am the Dodgers, I'm any of these teams that are eyeing up the New York Mets, I am telling my base runners, I don't care who you are, you get on first base, you're running. Period. End of discussion. He cannot hold runners, and I know he's going to do a good enough job of being dominant and shutting down opponents and having the unhittable stuff, but it's problematic, Michelle. I know relievers struggle in general when it comes to holding runners, but it cannot be a massive liability, and last year, and I think you saw it in this outing, it might be down the road.
Guys really changed the tune and direction of that. But we saw a bit of a lineup preview Thursday. Just about every projected starter except Brandon Nimmo played in this one, but it was a bit sloppy defensively. So, JJ, are you chalking up the miscues to it just, being spring training?
I sure hope so. Look, we saw that Alvarez play. That's a play he needs to be able to handle, and there are a lot of expectations on him for what he has to do with the pitching staff, for what he has to do as far as doing the overall nature of being a big-time catcher in this league that we've been waiting to see out of Alvarez. I don't get nuts about fundamentals in a spring training game, but I think if you see this sort of thing over the first couple weeks of the year, it's going to sound the alarm. So the job, I guess, for Carlos Mendoza and company, Anthony, is to figure out between now and opening day how we tighten it up so the Mets come opening day are exactly where they need to be.
Yeah, one of the things that sticks out is that Lindor, if you're watching the highlights, Lindor drops a pop-up, I'm not bothered by that. He wants to get the sort of game action going. He might have accepted being called off of that ball. They're unfamiliar left fielder out there. So that's not like this major gaffe to me that's, must be fixed. Get him on the backfield, hit him some pop-ups, let's go. You got to make that play. Juan Soto went back on a ball that he didn't get either. I mean, for a guy who's talking about how he wants to win a Gold Glove, those are plays that he's got to maybe get a little closer on during the regular season. But, to your point, JJ, it's early. And, I'm not going to go crazy over this, for one sort of, not great night.
Right, I agree. Well, we mentioned Nimmo was the only regular not playing in this game. And before the game, Carlos Mendoza said that he is nearing a return after a recent MRI did not reveal anything concerning. So, Anthony, how important do you think Nimmo is to this lineup?
Well, I mean, he's huge, Michelle. He's an excellent player. He's a main cog in this offense. I mean, if you're sort of playing it out, writing out your own lineup card at home, the Mets seem to think that he's their cleanup hitter. So this is a major portion, got a good chance to get up in the first inning and do some real damage. So he needs to be right. And to me, look, I get it. He knows his body better than anybody. And, the Mets say they're not concerned. A guy coming off plantar fasciitis who then has a sore knee. Spring training is going to be 32 on opening day. I start to think, it's time to be healthy.
So Brandon Nimmo is super imperative to this team because he can grind out at bats when he's right. And all of a sudden, you look at that top of the order, Lindor and what he's able to do. Soto, we know the on-base percentage is going to be through the roof. Alonso, Nimmo, if he's getting on base a ton like he did for a good chunk of the first half, where he was playing like and deserved to be an all-star in the National League, that makes the Met lineup that much more dynamic. He was not that guy in the second half, and his body betrayed him. So you need to hope that Brandon Nimmo is going to be his best physically, Michelle, in order to help this team.